Guys, we got our eyes on gold buys and EU buys. Looks like stuff is starting to turn around. Dixie is at 103.86. Dixie is going down. We're looking for a pop on EU and gold. EU and gold buys potentially. I'll be right back.
It's important that actually we are keeping being innovative, we keeping being Italian, and so this flavor, and this means that actually we have been helped in develop the company properly. The company is the best shape ever. We are coming to be 100-year of history in 2026, so we have a kind of a long heritage, but we have a fantastic present, and we like to see that we are building our future. So also a lot of that has to be thanks to the current shareholder that actually has helped a lot the brand to develop and to work on many aspects. Like for example, product quality now is at its best. We have made a lot of investment actually in order to make sure that really that is completely out of discussion.
Well, it's a really interesting dynamic, like you said, a complicated relationship, but Ducati can keep being Italian. I am curious, how much is Ducati able to collaborate with some of the other brands that are also under Volkswagen?
Yeah, that's a very positive part. Actually, we are in what we call the progressive brand group, which is under the umbrella of Audi. So it's Audi, Ducati, Lamborghini, and Bentley. And that has helped a lot. We have very close relation with Lamborghini. They are we are 30 kilometers one from the other in the same region, which actually is the Motor Valley here in Emilia Romagna. And then we are very close friends all with Bentley, and that made possible that in the last couple of years we make a special version. We make one of our Street Fighter, which is our stripped down Panigale, in Lamborghini trim, and that was a fantastic success. 630 units plus 63 special only for Lamborghini customer. And then we replicate 1 year later with Bentley, making a Ducati Diablo for Bentley. And these are very special version, very high price, but collectors love that because typically the resale value of the product is higher. And so it's not only a fantastic gift for passionate bikers, but also a good investment.
And Claudio, I only have about a minute left with you, but we have to talk about MotoGP because Ducati won its fourth straight world title in 2023. What has that meant for sales? Are you able to get close to quantifying the impact there?
Yeah, that's a kind of the killer question. I've been at many times, and if I have to be completely honest, it's very difficult to relate sales with actually the result we do in a racing. But for sure, there is a lot of prestige. Everything we do, everything we measure, and actually we keep monitoring the brand strength around the world has been skyrocketing in the last 5 years, and for sure, the result we've had in MotoGP, and actually when we consider that we are the only brand in the history in motorcycling that actually won MotoGP and Superbike on the same year, doing 2 years in a row. That was never happening before in history. And so when you do something so big, all the passionate bikers really understand and take that the technology that comes from the brand is so high, and so the reputation is very high now.
Well, Claudio, best of luck this year. Really great to speak with you. Our thanks, of course, to Claudio Domenicali of Ducati. Now, coming up, closing the deal, we'll speak with Milton Berlinski, co-founder of Reverence Capital, a key investor in the $1 billion capital fusion in New York Community Bank. This is Bloomberg.
Anywhere you go look, there's going to be a shortage of welders. There's a big learning curve with welding. Virtual reality simulates that exact muscle memory. I want them to get out into the field. I want them to make good money, and that's what this does.
I'm Alex Rodriguez. I'm a former New York Yankee
show where we talk with big-time athletes and executives about the wins, the losses, and lessons learned along the way.
This show is called The Deal.
The deal?
The deal. The deal.
That deal.
The deal.
The deal.
Who dug this up? Where y'all in trouble?
Yep, EU popped on me. So we're gonna buy EU. So I like EU buys. I like EU buys, and gold is making a low. It's forming a low off 2150. It's acting like it doesn't want to break 2150. So if gold doesn't want to go into 2150, we can expect a push back up to 2160. We got Dixie at 103.81. Dixie is down, so we're seeing Euro push right now.
Several reasons. One is we have recently merged into us a real estate group called Pembroke, run by Larry Cohen, who had
I need a pullback on EU to pull the trigger.
with part of the bag.
And if gold can't break 2150, I might look at the buys on gold.
Felt very comfortable that we could assess
EU is up though.
this very quickly. And secondly, we had been having a dialogue on the asset side with the institution. And so that was very helpful. And so when we got the call from the bank, of course, we were very happy to do that.
Now, this deal was pretty immediately in the money. $1 billion capital infusion quickly, almost doubled.
We should have caught EU off that whole number, but
So investors are looking for.
I mean off that 500 level.
What is New York Community Bank a year from now? How do you?
But I thought they were going to work the H4 candle a little bit more first.
So I think first, obviously,
Gold buys down here is ideal.
He's a very experienced CEO, having done this at One West. I think he's going to, work very closely first with the existing management team to assess the existing businesses.
Dixie hugging 103.82. All we need is a pullback on EU to hop in some buys. We're also looking at gold for buys. Gold buys right here.
And so we're going to try to, diversify and reposition the institution. And I think, look, it's a long-term project, so this is not something that you're going to snap your fingers and it's going to happen overnight. But I have high confidence that Joseph will.
We're looking for gold for buys, so gold's.
This was only closed a week ago, yet you have.
Gold has a new H4 candle. So you know what's weird, guys? Because of daylight saving time, currencies and commodities, their H4 candles are opening up at the same time. But before daylight saving switch, it was an hour after each other. Currencies will open up first and then commodities. But right now, notice, this blue line is the H4 open, and it's a blue line over here is the H4 open. This is Euro and this is gold. So let's see what gold wants to do. It's a new H4 candle.
If that changes in the future, we'll put more capital.
Could be a double bottom, but this crossover is pretty strong, so we got to see if they want to break these lows at 2150 or if they want to keep going back higher for gold. We got Dixie at 103.80, and it's looking weak. So let's see what everything wants to do. If we can get gold to close above the green line, maybe we take a small buy. If it breaks 2150, I'm looking at gold sells.
Like the multifamily side of the business, some will like office, but at what they think is the reset value for those assets. And I think what the bank ultimately decides to do with that will be a function of
See what
how
they want to
markets
do.
shape the bank.
We're right here watching them.
A bunch of this is going to run off and mature and refinance elsewhere. Part of it will end up, securitizing or selling into other pockets to take it off balance sheet, and in some part of it we will sell.
How much due diligence were you able to conduct on those portfolios before the deal? And now that you have a look under the hood, how bad is it? I mean, how much work is there to be done on this real estate portfolio, particularly the rent-regulated part?
So we
Dixie looks like it's coming down. So Euro could be a pop for this week. Let's see.
The bulk of 75%.
Yeah, any kind of pullback, I'll take a long.
Office portfolio. We went through about 25%
I
of
took
the
a long. Any kind of
multifamily,
pullback.
which is quite extensive when you think about a sampling. We also then took, and by the way, management and the bank was extremely helpful in providing us the information we needed. We stratified the business, each one of the multifamily by percentage of rent control versus non-rent control, boroughs, where they were located, LTVs, to come up with an assessment that we were going to sell the entire portfolio. So not a credit assessment, but a sale assessment. How much capital we would need, and with the bank.
I got my eyes on gold buys.
Regulatory compliance, and we concluded yes, we could do that and still be in regulatory compliance, and so we were very happy with that as part of the commitment of the $1 billion. I would say, look, the thing that's misunderstood is the multifamily portfolio is performing very well, right? And as we've gone in and done more work on the inside now with the bank, we feel better about it even than we did a week ago.
So really interesting color there, that the multifamily part of the business, definitely a bright spot. But I am curious to broaden out here and talk about regional banks as a whole. In your view, do you think that NYCB was a standalone event, or do you think that there are more shoes to drop when it comes to regional banks?
Look, I think if you go back and look over the last
We
5
put a
years,
tester on gold.
a lot of the growth in banks has come in the real estate area, right? And so people will have to adjust their portfolios, take reserves. I think rates starting to peak and coming down over time will be helpful to that. And most banks will be able to work through their issues, including New York Community Bank. The smaller banks will need to raise capital, and there's lots of bankers out there who want to help them do that.
Yeah, to that note as well, you were mentioning how commercial real estate is really part of the problem here. Let's be conservative and say you're only going to get 2 rate hikes this year. In that scenario where there are interest rates still higher than expected in entering the year, how much more damage is there in the property sector that can start to impact these banks?
Well, I assume you meant rate cuts as opposed to rate hikes.
I got a tester on gold. Let's see if it runs. If it gets over the yellow line, I'll add a couple more positions.
Most people understand today what the occupancy looks like in these buildings. People coming back to work, but not as fast as in some geographies as they would like. And so, but I think people have a good handle on what the operating expenses are today for these businesses, what the NOI is on the buildings, and so I think you will see banks, slowly but surely start to take the incremental reserves if they need them, and frankly, start to interact with their borrowers on how to refinance the existing portfolio. Some of them will require more reserves than others, but today I think I don't see any catastrophic events in the banking system, given the amount of capital that sits in the banking system today.
Milton, you have 30 seconds. Do you think that there's another $1 billion deal out there?
Well, I'm sure there is.
All right, I think that was 3 seconds, so great on time.
Dixie at 103.80. 103.80. It's looking pretty heavy, like it's gonna come down for the day. We might get a pullback now. Let's see.
Fascinating conversation on that $1 billion capital infusion for New York Community Bank. Of course, that was led by.
We got a small tester position on gold, longs.
Month high. We're going to speak to Tom Bates. He is the Steinbridge Group CEO and founder. That conversation coming up next. This is Bloomberg.
watching EU and gold. EU and gold. I got a small buy on gold just to see how it's gonna hold over this green line. If it gets over the weekly open, I'll add a couple more positions.
This would be a carbon neutral jet fuel.
Is an optimist guide to the planet.
Jamie Lannister on the runway.
You guys watch gold for the double bottom. Higher time frame double bottom right here. Right off 2150 hold number. This could be a 50 pip play or maybe 75 pips or more. I don't know if it's gonna do all of that before this news though. We got news coming up this week. So I'm just being careful.
Now women on average have about a 30% lower, amount of money saved up.
You gotta be careful. I'm watching it. My stop loss is right here at the green line.
Yeah, so we've launched a campaign called
If it closes under green, I'm out. So it's about 10
and we do
pips.
know that women retire with 30% less. Women make 83 cents on the dollar. And so there's a couple of things that we're doing. One, it's having this conversation and making sure that we all are aware that there is a gap.
Dixie still hugging 103.82.
So longevity risk is a real factor. Secondly, it's about making sure that we are talking to women about what can you do differently. And so whether that's negotiating pay and what are some tools that are out there, making sure that you take the time to negotiate, because we know women do not negotiate as much as men, which puts you at a disadvantage to start. But then also along the way, making sure that women are securing their own retirement, and that as part of their retirement plan, we're having much more conversation around guaranteed income as well. And so ensuring that we understand what are the nuances for women. If you think about COVID, 2 million women exited the workforce. They did not continue to contribute to their 401k or 403b plan. And so how do we make sure, as a matter of policy, as a matter of engagement, that women can have an opportunity to catch up? That women can understand that if you exited the workforce and now
I'll add a little bit more to gold at this weekly open. Let's see. I need a close above, a clean close above.
To get back on track.
In a multi-trillion-dollar industry, there's a lot of ground to cover.
We indeed have a rally.
We're talking a lot of dividends, we're talking income.
We'll show you what's happening in ETFs like no one else. Watch Bloomberg ETF IQ.
The U.S. home builder index rising to an 8-month high in March, and that beat, it was driven by a limited number of houses for sale and falling mortgage rates. So let's discuss the state of the housing market. We have a great guest. We're going to do that with John Davis. He is the Steinbridge Group CEO and founder of Steinbridge, a $5 billion national real estate development firm focused on national housing trends. Tuan, great to have you with me in person. So let's go to this line in your notes. Of course, we have the Fed meeting kicking off today, that rate decision coming tomorrow. You write that we cannot address housing or inflation without addressing the causes. The Fed's policies increased inflation, and now we must work to bring those costs down. What does that process look like? Costs coming down, and how does that translate into this housing market?
Still in these gold buys. Let's see what they're gonna do.
The expectations for tomorrow's Fed decision. Most people aren't expecting there to be an increase in interest rates. The Fed's, if you look at today's inflation, it's about 3.2%, still well down from the 9% peaks in 2022, but still 120 basis points higher than the 2% target for the Fed. And so if you add to the fact that today the Bank of Japan, after 17 years, finally increased their interest rate and is the last major central bank to come off of negative interest rates, there's really very few drivers that would predict a Fed increase tomorrow. But I think if you look beyond that or under that, one of the major drivers of continued inflation and what's made it so difficult is our housing prices. If you look, even though broader inflation is 3.2%, housing prices increased 5.7% in the same period of time, and rent increased about 6%. And so if you look at gasoline and housing together, they represent roughly 60% of all of the nation's inflation at this point in time. And so you can't really begin to address the larger inflation problem without really focusing on what's going on in the housing market and today.
Well, let's talk about what's going on in the housing market, because it feels like there's at least two factors that are really keeping some of those figures that you mentioned high. You have, of course, high interest rates controlled by the Fed, but you also, it seems to have this structural undersupply of houses available to be sold. So, I mean, even if rates come down, how much pent-up demand is there for what is a relatively limited supply of houses?
I mean, that's the problem. Thankfully, housing starts and housing finishes were up last month, but in general, there's still a chronic undersupply.
Got my eyes on gold buys.
That is why today
I'm in a small tester position. I want to build this into maybe a 5 to 10 cent position.
Income in housing and housing costs, which is by definition housing burden. And that's not a recent thing. That's been true for some 60 years. In fact, if you look at the last decade or so, inflation has grown by 61%, 31% over that 10-year period, but housing costs are up 61%, so twice the size. So there's just been a perennial long-term demand. I think
I'm gonna add another one of gold. I'm gonna build this up to like a 5 to 10 a 5 to 10 cent position, guys. I'm in gold buys right now. Gold buys. I need to get over this red line. My stop loss is at green. My stop loss is about 10 pips for my first order. I close everything under green, and I'm looking at this yellow line as well. This is the weekly open. We can stay over this weekly open, then these buys might be good.
And it also activates land that's underutilized and owned by nonprofits.
So let's see. I would like to get in like 10 cents, get gold for 50 pips, quick 50 bucks.
All rental units are actually single family units, not multi-family units. And roughly 60+% of renters are in single family homes, not multi-family homes. So you really can't address the affordability problem without also addressing single family homes. So one of the major things that we do is supply single family homes, and the market is beginning to come around to that idea. If you look at the performance of REITs in the residential sector, single family REITs well outperformed multifamily last year. The total return on multifamily REITs.
If it tries to pull back to the whole number, I don't want to deal with it. I'm cutting my positions at the green line.
1%, almost 4 times. And today, the single family REITs.
Nice 15-minute double bottom.
Multifamily REIT market value. So for the first time, the market is beginning to understand that you can't really address the housing gap and the affordability gap without putting significant investment into single family homes, and that's one of our primary strategies.
Okay, so single family homes, clearly an area of focus for you. Talk to me about impact investing in real estate, because I talked to a lot of
We got Dixie at 103.82.6.
without the impact part. Where did you land on that strategy?
We have to see if it wants to break these 80 levels and go down. We got look at GN now. GN is coming off its highs, guys. GN sells. GN sells are hot. They're respecting that 21. They're respecting that 2100 level. GN sells are hot. Very small stop loss. Start of a new H4 candle.
Roughly 2 to 4 years to save to buy a home, and today the statistics suggest that it will take 9 to 11 years for a family to save for a home, and so we are targeting those families.
Look at the H4 open on GN. They worked above it a little bit, snapped, broke structure right here. Now we need to see if this green line, which is the 50 moving average, if it's going to hold the lower highs as it go down. So we're looking for shift on the 1 minute. We're still in our gold buys. I want to turn this into a 5 to 10 cent position. Right now we're in 5 cents. I would like to get in as heavy as possible, but honestly I only have 200% margin left. So I think this 5 cents is all they're going to really give me.
Impact, theme, idea, and strategy. One of the interesting things is also a very good real estate strategy, because there are 100+ historically black colleges and universities. 90% of them are actually in the southern path.
I don't want to take my margin under 200%. That's kind of the max.
And where the remigration is occurring, like North Carolina, Texas, Virginia,
I could just flicker 1 cent the whole way up as it pushes away. That'll eat my margin small. It won't kill it too much. So we're gonna see if these gold bars are gonna run or not.
Really enjoyed this conversation. Fascinating stuff. Hope you come back soon. That, of course, is Tuan Davis of the Steinbridge Group, really talking to us about the state of housing in this economy, and of course, as we count down to that Fed decision tomorrow. But before we get there, let's take a check of these equity markets. We're going to do that with Bloomberg's Abigail Doolittle.
Katie, at this point, we are looking at declines mainly for the major indexes. We do have the Dow up ever so slightly, but the big drag on the other index as well, that is NVIDIA. Take a look at this. Over the last 8 days, NVIDIA down, I think it's 6 of those 8 days, losing about 7% over this time period. The worst stretch for NVIDIA of the year. So one big question, whether or not this is an inflection point of some sort for this stock that has only rallied after the developer conference, the tech conference, the Woodstock of AI conference began yesterday. It seems like it might be a sell the news moment. If we connect this with the chart, there's little question that NVIDIA's 96% move year to date at one point just not so long ago. You can see it there.
We're still in these gold bars. We're gonna see if they're gonna run. I need to get over this red line to feel comfortable. We're over the H4 open. We're over the weekly open. I need to get over red, over yellow, and then we can actually have a position running.
The S&P 500 not down so much though, down 0.2%, being balanced out by most of the other sectors being higher. The Nasdaq 100 weighed on heavily down 0.7%, and risk-off tone to some degree overall. We do have a little bit of a bid for bonds and the dollar ahead of the Fed yesterday. Let's take a look at one true bright spot, Katie. And
we got Fed interest rate decision tomorrow, so we got to be mindful of that.
10% at this point, the best day in more than a year, on a report out of Reuters that the Nordstrom founding family is looking at ways to take the company private potentially. They, of course, tried to do this 6 years ago. It was unsuccessful, but maybe this time working with Morgan Stanley and Centerview, according to these reports, maybe the effort will work out.
Yeah, we'll see how this time around goes, but shares mightily higher. Bloomberg's Abigail Doolittle, thank you so much. Now coming up next on Wall Street Week Daily, Scott Bessing, Key Square Capital founder and CEO. He joins us to talk about what a Trump economic team could
We got gold pushing a little bit. Let's see what they want to do. Gold buys. Another thing that we have to start getting better with, guys, that'll minimize our losses, is getting break even. So after we get into a trade and it's actually running, after we get a new high or a new low in line with our positions, it's good to start going break even so we can minimize how many losses we take on a small account. Now I won't want to go break even again until it breaks these highs, which it's doing now. Break the highs, get a retest, and then break the highs one more time, then I'll likely go break even. But if I do it right now, my stops will probably get hit.
Regional sports networks. There's a lot of, it's a business that seems to be collapsing. Leagues have sort of toyed around with, should we do something ourselves? Some teams are doing like local TV and streaming. How do you see that shaking out?
So, I don't think I'm right on this, but this is, my instincts keep telling me this is what's going to happen.
Gold is currently running.
If you remember the WWE,
We're up about 10 pips or so. We're at the red line. This is where I want to see. If we can close above the red, I'll add another little penny on it.
Perfect time, and they sold their content to, what was it, Peacock?
Yeah.
And that was really smart.
Let's see what they want to do.
That number as high as possible. So they always zagged where the money was and the opportunity was. I think the opportunity for the NBA with the local teams would be to own all that themselves. across global markets.
Real-time data aspect is going to be.
We're going to bring you expert analysis on that. Don't miss Bloomberg's interview.
GN is a sell, guys. If anybody's trading GN, the sells are hot. Right off the 2100 level. The 2.10 level right here. GU sells are hot. My stop loss would be at the whole number. I don't have enough margin to play both. But GN sells are hot. We got Dixie at 103.81. GN sells are hot. My stop loss will be right here. 7 pip stop loss. TP. I would target the 209.50 levels. GN sells are hot. These gold buys are pushing. Let's see if we can get a push over red to confirm the push to the upside. We're currently forming a right shoulder on M1.
Trump might build up his economic team if he wins the election. Here now is Scott Besson.
There's a little push. I want to add a couple more pennies, but I need a little bit more of a pullback.
Scott, welcome back. It's good to have you here. We've talked before about what Donald Trump taking the office of president might mean.
All we gotta do is claw back to 100 like this. 2 or 3 setups, $10 a piece, $15 a piece. We'll claw back to 100. Then we'll have some more room.
We'll see what the Federal Reserve does. My sense is that
we're now over red, which is good. We need to close over the yellow line, and then it turns into a real position. Once we close over yellow, we can actually have a trade on. Right now, it could still turn on us.
Financial conditions wouldn't at ease, and the inflation, economic activity wouldn't be re-accelerating as we have now. So
I gotta be careful because this is a perfect pullback to the downside if we wanted to. So we gotta watch it. I need to get over yellow.
Possibly have to stay.
This trade still isn't valid yet.
So it'll all depend on what the Fed does.
It's interesting because I've heard people tell me over the past few weeks, months, that this Fed wants to cut, but they can't yet. Why do you think that they want to cut? Why is that the narrative out there?
Because Jerome Powell said it in front of Congress.
That's true.
Right? So I take him at his word.
Coming back to Trump for a second here, your name has come up as maybe playing some role. I don't know whether that's going to happen or not. But have you had any conversations, either with the former president or with his team, that would indicate to you where he thinks he wants to go economically?
Sure. So what I will say is, I'm not going to repeat private conversations, but I do think one bad narrative in the market is that he will not be able to put together a fantastic cabinet. Is that I think there will be many qualified people who will want to
We're still in our gold buys.
I think he will have his choice of a cabinet.
I like GN sells and EU buys as well.
Bit of misinformation in the market is
but we're still in between right now. This could turn into a sell trade, so we have to be weary.
Focused on the size of the national debt, on the amount that it's increased under Biden, and the size of the deficits. And I think you will hear
we need to close over this red with some force to confirm the push to the upside. All we're doing is trying to catch the next push, whether it's going to be up or down.
Should he get reelected?
Well, Scott, I respect that you don't want to repeat private conversations, but hypothetically, if selected, would you serve?
Look, there's a lot of green in between, as they say in golf, and I am laser focused on my business. I have a great team.
We gotta watch this spot on gold because it could be a perfect spot for some sales to step in. Our stop loss is still down here, so now our stop loss is moving a little bit. Our stop loss is about 13 pips away.
Laser focus, as you put it, on the debt and the deficit. I think a lot of people on Wall Street would be encouraged by that, but surprised nonetheless. How would he go about doing that? Because he did have big Trump tax cuts, as we call it. He tends to like lower interest rates. He wants higher tariffs. Those sound more inflationary than otherwise.
Okay, so if we just isolate the debt, is the Trump tax cuts could be
Guys, we're also going to start trading our futures live. We're going to be trading our Top Step account live as well, 1 or 2 days out of the week.
And
I think it's going to be.
So we got to be careful with these gold sells. This is a perfect pullback. If it's going to respect these highs, then it could push and make a new low. If it's going to break over the red and the yellow line, then we can expect us to have a push to the upside. So I'm still ready to close. These are not confirmed buys yet. It could have just been a pullback. We need to close over this red and this yellow line to confirm the buys.
Right, but they could be good for the budget.
Okay, so potentially good for the budget when you think about the potential.
Dixie's at 103.82.
We're having very hypothetical conversations since we don't know what's going to happen in November, but let's talk a little bit about Trump's relationship with the Fed. If re-elected, how important is an objective?
If gold gets under this yellow line, I'm going to close the positions.
It's going to be important no matter who wins in 2020.
Right now, the weekly candle is white or green.
There's going to be very little gas.
If it gets under this,
we can't keep running 5.
if it gets under this yellow line, then we know it's going down and they're just working sellers. So we got a new 15-minute candle. Let's see what they want to do.
Or during a war. So, something is going to have to be done. And obviously,
a very beautiful double bottom, super clean. TP is going to be 21.60. A nice 50 pip trade. That's only if it pops.
Do you think there's any realistic possibility that Trump 2.0 might actually try to remove Chair Powell?
We're in gold buys.
Saying that there's cause.
I don't have any insight on that. I will note that twice in the past 10 days, Joe Biden has called for rate cuts. So, he's getting in the political game now, too.
It's true. There's a bipartisan call for these rate cuts. To your point that Jerome Powell would like to deliver, but we of course have the Fed meeting tomorrow and the rate decision. Let's talk a little bit about the market. I was reading some of the notes that you sent over, and the topic of financial conditions.
Man, we trying to print this stuff. We over here trying to print this stuff today.
Right, that they will create a big problem for themselves and be
$100 to $1 million.
2024 bond market revolt. What would a bond market revolt look like at this point?
And 90 trading days.
It would look like a failed auction. I think it would look like a dramatic steepening of the curve.
We got gold pushing up. I need gold to close over this red line and close over the yellow line. Right now the buys look good, but if we close under this yellow line right here, then we're going to get out of these buys.
The dot plot is how they signal their further intentions. Do they leave the dot plot the same? My guess is we could see maybe some of the panelists remove a cut for this year. Certainly they're going to remove some cuts for next year, and we will have.
Right now we're in gold buys. Very small position. I got 5 cents running. We're just trying to get our account back up to our starting balance. We need to close over this red line to turn into a trade, and then next the yellow line. This horizontal yellow line is our weekly open. So what gold is doing is they're pushing under the weekly open to attract sellers, knowing that they want to push the asset up for the week. So we have a double bottom at the whole number, 21.50. Okay, they pushed down twice, but if they wanted to genuinely sell off, they would have just sold off. Okay, they rejected it twice, so they had something else on their mind. We grabbed it right here at the reversal candle pattern on the 15-minute, and now we're letting it run and see if they're gonna break the highs. My TP would be 21.60. So they rejected this whole number twice. Started a new H4 candle, worked it one more time and pushed up. They formed a left head, right shoulder. Right shoulder is over the green line. Now we need to see us get over red and get over yellow to turn into a real position. We're trying to make 10, 20 bucks off this position. Put us at 70, 60, 70 bucks. And then we'll come back and attack it again tomorrow. But they're hugging the red line right now. So it's turning into a 5-minute setup. If we close over red, it's a 5-minute setup. If we close over yellow, it's a 15-minute setup.
About exactly where we are with tech IPOs in the week when we are expecting to see red come out. That's going up Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Well, I have to imagine she's getting a little bit busier than she has over the last USO, David Weston. Thank you so much.
Let's see what they want to do. We gotta be careful for the sells. We still gotta watch the sells, because this shit could decide to just sell off if it wanted to. I see a double bottom even on the hourly, but it can still sell off if it wanted to. So I got my hand on the trigger. We can't go break even yet. Starting to get some rejection at the red line. If we can't close over red, then we might not have a setup. I'm closing the positions if we close under this yellow line for sure. I'll let them work from where they are to the yellow line. But we can't close under yellow or this green line.
The top names in tech are on Bloomberg.
There's a natural tension between the need of a supplier to scale and
Now is when we just gotta be patient and let the position run. As long as it doesn't breach our rules, let it run, okay? My stop loss is at the green line. My stop loss is also at this yellow line. I don't want to see it go under. I want to see us run the move. If we can't run it right now, then I'll close at break even. We need to push to the upside. I need to get over the red line and over the yellow line to confirm our push to the upside. I still like GN shorts. GN shorts are nice. I got Euro turning around. Dixie's coming at 103.800. It's cracking 800 level. So you can expect Euro USD to go up. If dollar goes down, we should expect currencies and commodities to appreciate. But we still got to understand that this is just a short-term position. We have Fed interest rate tomorrow. So we don't want to be in no heavy positions for Fed interest rate.
Well, it is a big week for
Hey, y'all hit that like button for your boy, man. I really appreciate it. Make sure y'all subscribe as well. I'm giving out free game, free signals. Ain't nobody doing this on YouTube, y'all. I'm being fully transparent, trading a $100 account, and we're gonna build this motherfucker together. Y'all hit that like button for your boy though.
Then they took that off the table as you move through the year, and now they're predicting 2% plus growth this quarter. So you've gone from negative to slightly positive 2%.
Gold buys, GN sells, EU buys. That's free money.
It's not outsized growth. It's actually slowing down. So people
Dixie at 103.80. We need to see gold push over this red line.
And the restriction on the economy accomplishing is purposeful. Meanwhile, the consumer is very resilient, and that's providing an anchor to windward that the Fed has latitude that a lot of places don't have, that they can be hold restrictive and let the economy really catch up. But they have to be mindful of the change. At some point, that consumer will slow down, and they have slowed down their spending. And so last year it had been 10% growth. This year, in the fall, 5%. Now it's got to 3 to 4%. They've got to be careful they don't overshoot. So this is the tension we're in right now, which is this resilient economy, and actually, as you said, Lisa, actually trying to bring inflation down. Since the financial crisis to now, most central banks are trying to get
We need to see a push from gold.
So it's a completely different execution, and that's what we got to get right.
You're dominant in small business lending. I'm just wondering just how much confidence there is out there still in corporate America at the lower level, in the small companies across this country.
The American economy is the dominant economy in the world right now in terms of activity and interest and investment, and lots of good trends for it. But on the other hand, why aren't they using online so much? It's a little more costly, therefore you're a little more careful, and that's the tension we're going through.
Gold's got to pick a side. It's either up or down. We're trying to go with them either way, up or down.
But now the question is, do they really want to invest heavily in it? And that's where you're seeing a little bit of tension here.
And that, of course, was Bank of America Chairman and CEO Brian Moynihan speaking earlier today with Bloomberg. Let's take a quick look at some stocks hitting highs.
We need gold to pick a side, up or down.
52-week high after maintaining its regular dividend. That is 29 cents a share. You also have Stellantis.
GN is coming down. Let's see. Dixie at 103.81. So it's hugging the 80s level. Let's see if it's going to crack down into those 70s. If Dixie cracks, you can expect Euro to crack too. Probably trade for another hour.
nature for granted.
Another hour, maybe another 2 hours. I'll probably trade this new H4 candle. So it just opened at 7 o'clock. Probably trade until 11, 10 o'clock. I'm just looking for a push. I'm just looking for a push. I need gold to close over. I need gold to close over the red line. Alright, gold has turned into an actual signal now that it's over red. Notice that alert I got. So you see that arrow? That arrow is a part of my system. And when you buy the course, you get the alerts. Okay? So XAU, buy crossover. Alright? So when you get these alerts, they come to your phone like text messages. Okay? And when you get the alert, you come check it. And you line the alert up with the 15-minute, the 1 hour chart, and you make sure it's in line with the overall trend. If the alert is in line with the overall trend, you can take the trade and put the stop loss below. So my traders would have just got notified about this trade literally 1 minute ago. Let's see if it's going to run from then. Okay? So when you get that system, you'll get all the alerts, all the indicators. All you got to do is download MetaTrader 4 and then install all the alerts on there. You can have the MetaTrader 4 running on a demo account, but it'll be giving you real-time alerts for the live market. Alright? So expect that to be done pretty soon. Been hella busy. GN shorts are hot, guys. We call this at the high of 2100. GN shorts. I don't have enough margin to play both, so I'm just playing gold. But we have closed over the red line, turned into an official signal. We need to close over yellow next. That's what we're looking for next. I need to close over this yellow line. Dixie is turning around on us. Dixie is at 103.83. I appreciate that like. If y'all stop in here, man, and y'all getting any value in the shit I'm talking about, man, y'all hit the like button for me. The algorithm really appreciates it, and I appreciate it. I'm gonna teach y'all how to break this market down. We gotta have very strict rules so we can enter and exit positions and profit, okay? Once we get those rules locked down, just like you know how to drive, it's a wrap. So right now, gold buyers are running, but that could change in an instant. We watching this red line. We need to stay over the red line and over the yellow line. Stop loss is at green. So having my stop loss at the green is kind of trailing, okay? I will close these trades if it came down here, about 10 pips. My TP is 2175, TP1, TP2 is 2160. If we can't stay over red, then this might turn into a sell signal, so we gotta be careful.
Its most powerful chip architecture yet. Why Blackwell will be key for the future of AI.
Plus, as TikTok faces a potential ban or divestiture, we'll get the outlook on what's to come next. In the Senate, the U.S. Senator...
We gotta be careful, be mindful of the gold sells. It could turn around and be a sell and break under 21, but they already rejected this 2150 level twice, so let's see if that rejection means anything. That's what we're trading. If they wanted to sell off, they could have sold off 2 times. They could have sold off in London and they could have sold off in New York, but they held the lows right at the whole number. So let's see if it means anything.
Generally, the macro picture has been on still inflationary
Let's see what they want to do.
Where will we see the dot plot? That's signaling from the Fed of how many rate cuts will come this year. Will it be 3? Will it be 2? We're seeing actually yields pull back on the 2-year. Interestingly, dollar still stronger versus a Japanese yen. Finally, that era.
We're back under the red line, so we got to be mindful. I'll close the position if it closes under yellow. It might want to go to the downside, so we got to be careful.
Moving on to what's happening in the world of crypto. I'm afraid
It's still 50-50 right now. I need to get over yellow to confirm to be a buy trade.
Happening across some exchanges. We're seeing $62,000 handle now, Ed, and well, we know it's always a volatile ride when it comes to crypto, but the flows into certain ETFs have been dialing back. What have you got on the micro?
Nvidia is what everyone around the world is talking about. It's next generation AI accelerator, Blackwell. The stock is down more than 2%.
It's looking pretty heavy.
Sell the news kind of move.
I'm gonna see how it acts at this green line, but I don't want it to get under yellow. If it gets under this yellow line right here, I'm gonna get flat. It might be setting up for a sell.
GB200 Blackwell GPUs with a Grace Hopper CPU.
Just trying to catch the next push, whether that be up or down.
Relative to the H100, the thing we've been talking about for the last 18 months or so. This performance is better. We'll dig into it later in the program. While Nvidia is lower, there are stocks that are pushing higher. Nvidia's CEO Jensen Huang named.
Now we got the opposite alert for a gold sell. I'm gonna close these and watch how it handles this yellow line.
Where they sit in the AI infrastructure build out that we're seeing around the world in the context of data centers. Dell, one of those key names, moving to the upside, Caroline.
Kingmaker of other stocks, perhaps not his own on the day. Nvidia's Blackwell.
It could turn right now, but we gotta see how they handle this yellow line. It could turn into sells.
It extends Nvidia's dominance, it feels like, of artificial intelligence computing.
This is Hopper. Hopper changed the world. This is Black.
Let's see. If we close under this yellow line, I might take a sell. Let's see. We got a sell signal. We respected this yellow line up here. That means we might want to continue to the downside. If we can turn and get a reversal pattern here, it might continue to push to the upside. It's still 50-50. It's still 50-50 right now.
Skyman is technology infrastructure analyst at New Street Research, who covers Nvidia and AI, and the dominance has been clear when you're looking at a market capitalization, when you're thinking of the $1 trillion added in market.
Could have just been a pullback. We came in kids yellow. Let's see what they want to do.
Well, valuable company in the world.
Alright, I like how they look. I might put my positions back on. This is the open of a new 15-minute candle. It came back and retested. We need a push. We need to push out of here.
Blackwell, the new platform that the company announced, offers up to 4 times higher trading performance and 30 times higher inference performance than its predecessor Hopper. And so next time you hear someone announce a chip that's 10 times faster than Nvidia, remember that a year later, Nvidia will also have a chip 10 times faster. So alternatives to Nvidia can have an advantage that lasts at best 1 generation, and a year later, that advantage goes away. And last but not least, remember that this advantage often comes at a cost. First, giving up on the flexibility that GPUs offer, and second, the cost of not being able to leverage Nvidia's ecosystem. So I would say that yes, it lives up.
Antoine, there was a lot more emphasis from Jensen on inference than there has been historically, right? The story was
they're respecting the yellow line. If we get a push over red, the buys are back active. I'm watching them right now.
Are you convinced that if we're in a world where we move from more training to more inference?
We got EU pulling back to the yellow line. Dixie is at 103.86, so Dixie is back to the upside.
Yes, I think so.
So that's why we're seeing this shift right now. We gotta have Dixie pick a side so we know where we're going.
That involves very complex optimization.
Dixie is coming off the 104 hold number. It's pulling back right now.
And I think what Jensen showed yesterday is that
right now we got a gold signal that's currently down. If they respect this yellow line, then it's gonna be a buy. If they close under this yellow line with some force, then the sells are actually high. We're trying to be flexible.
What are you most excited about from Jensen, right? He's like being
you gotta be flexible.
He's the man of the moment.
It's either buys or sells. We're gonna play these signals as they come in. Gold is at some all-time highs, so it can definitely go down. But it's also inside of a major uptrend. GN is turning right now. Stop loss would be at the hold number or the H4 open.
Half the performance improvement is coming from the GPU, and the other half is actually coming from the rest of the hardware stack. and system level integration. So bottom line is that NVIDIA's mode is not just about designing great GPUs, it's about designing great systems.
Hey Larry, I'm almost done with everything with the videos and shit. So I gotta make all the videos. Cause I don't want to give y'all the system and y'all don't know how the fuck to work it. So I gotta make all the videos amongst trading and doing all this shit. But it'll be ready in like a week. I'll be able to get y'all the system. It'll be like $199. Keep my shit cheap. I like gold sells. If we close under this yellow line and this quarter point, I'll take something. I might get in the teaser. Let's see. Dixie is at 103.84. Right now it's still 50-50, guys. Gold is coming off a double bottom, but it's also in the air. Okay, so it could be a push to the downside or a push to the upside. Right now we're kissing the weekly open, so we gotta just see where they want to push. Gold is at an all-time high, so it could be a down candle. That'll be worth a couple hundred pips if we get a down week. Gold sells. I'm gonna take a teaser, and I'll build into this position. If we can get under the H4 open. So right now my stop loss is at the green line, just like it was for the buys. About 13 pips. Okay. We're under the yellow line, so this was just a pullback. Let's see if it's gonna hold. We got respect to the yellow line. They push under green. Okay. Left head, right shoulder. Let's see if this is gonna run to the downside. Our stop loss is at the green. You gotta pick a side over this yellow line, above or under it. But we're gonna keep our trades really tight, stops tight, so we don't take too much of an L. They gotta pick a side right now though.
All data points suggest that NVIDIA is going to do very well, AMD is going to do very well, Broadcom is going to do very well. We see the industry shaping up, supply, CoWoS capacity, for instance, doubling again this year. I think all the data points suggest that everything is going to remain strong until 2025, but there is no way to determine what happens beyond 2025 yet. We'll have to monitor leading indicators on that front, as I mentioned earlier, like adoption and monetization of AI.
I love Caroline's question because Blackwell has 208 billion transistors in the Tensor Core, right? It's so many transistors, it's actually 2 chips in a multi-die format. TSMC is going to be the manufacturer making them, 4MP technique. Just something you said, Antoine, I think the forecast in fiscal 25 is $110 billion of revenue, up from 61 in fiscal 24. Do you have a good sense of how quickly Blackwell will be revenue generating? I think they said it will be launching later this year, calendar year.
Yes, I mean, when you look at NVIDIA's prior cycles, for instance, Hopper that launched in late 2022 represented maybe mid-single.
They playing both sides right now. We gotta see what they want to do. If they close over yellow, I'm out of here.
That quickly ramped in 2023.
Let's see. Then we'll probably get the opposite signal if we close over the red. They gotta pick a side right now. I didn't think they wanted to break these lows. They rejected it twice.
All right, New Street research analyst Antoine Schreiber, great to have you on the program. Reacting
one of these signals got to run.
Probably so far. Coming up,
the buys went up to the yellow line. Now we shifted back down to the downside. So we need to see new lows now. Now they need to break the daily lows. That's 40 pip. That's a 42 pip play if we can break these lows. They didn't want to break the highs. They respected the yellow line. So we need to break these lows. Now if we close back over this yellow line, then the buys are back active. They're chopping around the weekly open.
Amid this way AI enthusiasm over the last 12 months. It's going to be giving up a little bit as we see them sell more shares. This is Bloomberg Technology.
Yeah, about a week, Larry. I'm working on that shit now. We watching this yellow line. We watching gold. If it it stays under this yellow line, the sells are active. If it closes above this yellow line, the buys are on. So we got to stay flexible. That's what's hard for a lot of guys in trading. They come to the market with a set bias every day. But the market might go up today, down tomorrow, up today. Just stay flexible and play both sides. We just here to make money. We're not here to be right. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to flow. You know what I mean? Treat it like the ocean. You just go to the ocean and you throw the bait in the water and you try to catch fish based on where the bird's diving at. So the flow of the ocean is going down and they're making new lows, then you just try to wait on the pullback and get in some new lows. So it's potential that this could have been a pullback, right? Because this did break this structure level to the low, but this is still a double bottom. So we're trying to see if this double bottom go hold, or is the push off the high is gonna hold. We got a double bottom. It actually hit 3 times down here. Now are they gonna take out this liquidity, or are they gonna go back to the highs?
This is a show where we talk with big-time athletes and executives about the
As long as we stay under the yellow line, the cells are active.
This show is called The Deal? The Deal.
So we're looking at if they break the lows of the day, we're looking at least 40 pip dive to the downside. So we're gonna stay flexible. We're gonna see what they're gonna do. If they close back over yellow, we gotta close these cells. The buys was up.
This is as the economic picture covering the intersections of Hollywood.
A little $10. What they wanna do?
From the Justice Department and other agencies. Now, they're going to be holding closed-door briefings in the Senate this week to advance legislation that would allow TikTok to continue its U.S. operations while being severed from its Chinese owner. Now, this is all as briefings are likely to be held today and tomorrow, we understand. This is an ongoing lobbying battle, isn't it, over the divest or ban TikTok bill as it moves to the Senate.
We got Dixie at 103.86. Dixie is looking a little stronger. It turned around. They might want to go back to these highs of 104.
Well, it's hard to say what's going to happen in the Senate because Chuck Schumer
We're watching gold. My stop loss on gold is right here. All I have on is a tester position. I'm going to add positions that we can break this low, confirming that this sell signal is active. Once you get the signal, you want to see new lows. But once you get the signal for longs, you want to see new highs. So I need to see a new low to know this is an active sell signal.
There are no exceptions to that rule.
I'm gonna just flow whatever I get, flow with whatever I get. Dixie is turning. Let's see what Dixie wants to do. Dixie's either gonna go back up to 104 or down to 103.750.
There's also another concern that's being very clearly articulated as well. The last thing that we want to see happen is more power shift to the hands of companies like Meta that have demonstrated a willingness to censor American voices, particularly conservative American voices. So I think what we're talking about here is who owns TikTok at the end of the day and whether a divestiture can be achieved.
So you'd want TikTok to remain as a competitor here in the United States, just under different ownership.
And I think that is exactly what the bill contemplates. We'll see again what the final product looks like as it moves to the Senate, but that's what I would expect to see.
There has been some heavy lobbying, shall we say, coming from TikTok on the Hill, and it was notable that almost the person who first got the ball rolling on analysing the ownership of TikTok and indeed its persistence here in the US was former President Trump.
Still trying to see what gold wants to do. It's now under the weekly open. Let's see if we're going to get a new low. A new low today would be 50 pips down. It hasn't done much for the start of New York. We got to push up, or push down. So we're just chopping from New York. We might not get anything serious because we got this Fed interest rate tomorrow. So we just chopped. New York went down, pushed up, went down, pushed up. New York has to pick a side.
Post of concern to them, and that all feels like censorship to most Americans. I think that's the point. That's the concern that President Trump.
New York has to pick a side.
To go the other route, and many people feeling that what they don't want to see happen is a lack of freedom of speech, a lack of an ability to use this platform. So if it was to remain in the United States, who should own it? Who should be a buyer?
Well, I'd certainly prefer an American to own it, and that's the needle I think this legislation is trying to thread right now.
Should it be a social media company? Should it be individual investors? I know that your background is such.
I want to add to gold, but I need to see if this signal is actually active, if they're going to break these lows.
I think legislation should dictate.
I like that we're under the weekly open.
Might ultimately be, but we'll see what happens.
We respected the yellow line. Let's see if we're going to actually run.
Significant to the US public?
Well, I think it would be quite significant because of the number of users. I think the count is 170 million users of TikTok. So I think there's a great interest in what happens here. And again, the Congress is trying to thread the needle on balancing our security concerns and our concerns about data privacy with concerns of free speech.
Have you received calls from people within Tennessee wanting to see that TikTok remains, not wanting to see it go?
We've received calls on both sides.
Oh.
And so it's hard to say where the American public lies on this. I haven't seen polling on it. But again,
Gold has a new 15-minute candle.
Are both very real. Again,
let's see if we're going to get a push out of here.
Be exposed to surveillance by the Chinese Communist
We're
Party.
breaking the lows. Let's see.
By the Chinese Communist Party. That's something Americans clearly don't want. That's what I'm hearing. But also a concern that we not
I want to put some more positions on.
Large media companies that have shown their
Let me
desire
throw
to
one more
censor,
on.
particularly conservative voices here in America. So threading that needle is where this legislation needs to go.
The Republican take from Senator Bill Hagerty of Tennessee giving his thoughts on a TikTok bill as it begins potentially to slowly move through the Senate. And, well, let's just look at some of the overall concerns, the opponents, the tech critics, the issue around Congress about thinking that it broadly should not just be a divest or ban legislation on TikTok, but perhaps
We're watching gold's current 15-minute candle.
curtail, well, privacy oversight coming to every single social
If
media
this candle flips green, then it could be a buy. If it stays under yellow, stays under this yellow line, it's confirmed sell. We need to see a new low for these sells to be high.
Social media platforms and their voice within. Should there just be a broader privacy oversight here?
GN respected the 200.
Targeting one individual company?
So I'd be careful with the GN sells now. Looks like they're going to chop at the highs. GN is holding its highs at 2100. So gold is starting to break the lows. I'm going to add another position. I need gold to get under this H4 open and under this whole number 2150. If I can get under the H4 open, I feel better about the sells. Right now it's still 50-50, but I'm going to definitely ride with momentum. Momentum is going down, I'm going to try to make a little money down. I should have put that little 10 bucks in my pocket. But that's okay, because whatever side they choose, they should run for at least 50 pips. If I put on 5 or 10 cents, I should be able to make 40, 50 bucks. Put our account back to 100 and we can start getting back to work.
It's one small hole in the data ecosystem, and Americans' data is slipping out elsewhere.
Just stay flexible. My stop loss is at this yellow line. It's about 10 pips away. This yellow line is the weekly open. Since we are now under this yellow line, the weekly candle is now red. But anytime it was over that price, it was actually bullish week, okay? So we're trying to see if this weekly candle is going to collapse. If this weekly candle collapse, you're talking about a 700 pip play. And that'll probably activate during news. They're probably not going to run that, obviously, right now, right? But they'll run that during news. So let's see if these gold signals are going to run. I want to add positions as it drops. We're under the weekly open. I'm going to add one more. I want to add one more. I got 270% margin left. So I'll probably take that down to 200, but I need to get under the H4 open before I go full margin.
Any other social media company, particularly the ones that might be lobbying them, like Meta and X and the like,
that sell signal, it made a new low. So once you get the alert, you want to see new highs or new lows. We got this alert for a buy, but we couldn't get over this yellow line. So it didn't make a new high. Then we got the alert for a sell signal, okay? And that's in line with the fact that we didn't close over this yellow line. So now when we get that alert for the sell signal, we need to see at least one new low to know that that's an actual signal. So after the signal, we got, let me add another position. After this signal, we got one low and one new low they're working on right now. So these sells are confirmed once we get under this H4 open. Right now it's still 50-50. I need to see a push under the H4 open, and we got to go under 2150.
I always think it's worth saying out loud, it is a divest or ban.
Gold is starting to look heavy.
Piece of social media regulation.
I need to get under this H4 open though. So I need this H4 candle. If this is a true sell, this H4 candle is go from white to green. I'm sorry, white to red. So that's what we need to see. That means they were trapping buyers and now they're ready to run the move to the downside. Keeping in mind, we got an H4 crossover, 850. We got an engulfing pattern up here. Green, doji, red, right? So now we need to see if there's going to be some follow through. Essentially, our trades are each H4 candle is a 4-hour setup. We're just trying to ride the setup in line with the trend. So what you've been seeing is that's 4, 8, 12 hours of a down move. But it's kind of choppy because gold will do a lot in 12 hours. So this is kind of a choppy move. Let's get back to the M1 and see what they're doing. So we gotta watch gold. Stop losses at the yellow line. Stop losses at the yellow line. Stop losses also here at the green line. Let's see what they want to do.
So, I don't think I'm right on this, but this
We got a UC buy signal.
This is what's going to happen. Because if you remember the WWE, they launched their own network that had their own content and had their own pay-per-views. And it was kind of a smart, bold, ahead of its time move.
So we got a pullback. Now we don't want this pullback to turn our 15-minute candle white or green. If it flips this candle white, then we could be caught up in the sell trap. So we got to be careful.
I think the opportunity for
if they come off these lows too strong and push over this yellow line, I'm out. They just chopped us up twice. I'll leave it alone. But if they respect this yellow line and this green line, I'll stay in it. We gotta watch them lows now. If they start to look strong right here, I'm about to cut one of these. I could deal with a pullback, but I don't want them to cut over this yellow line or over this green line. I gotta see some respect here. They just put us in some chop. Let's see what they're gonna do. I'm about to cut one of these. I gotta cut that last one. I don't like how the 15-minute is looking. That's looking sharp, like it wants to push to the upside now. So they could have wanted to work the lows a little bit more. I gotta be careful. My ultimate stop loss is at this green line and above this yellow line. We're trying to see which way this weekly candle want to flow.
We're told the IPO will price tomorrow and start trading the day after, so that'll be the big moment of truth.
Yeah. I mean,
that was a deep ass pullback.
Final innings,
let's see.
Nokia with some legal patent.
If this flips to buys, that was a deep ass pullback. Probably like 68, 71%. We close over yellow and green, I'm out of these sells. The buys will be back active. They are chopping right now.
This is also the moment when companies tend to, drag all the skeletons out of the closet and disclose everything up front and say, you need to know what you're in store for. If you decide
GN is turning back down. Dixie is still at 103.88. Gold has to pick a side right now. Okay, I'm flat. I don't like it. It looks too strong.
If it wasn't material,
being said, I think also
Looks too strong. I won't entertain the buys until we get over this yellow line and this green line. Jeez. They're going both ways right now.
Or ask your financial advisor about the world's largest Bitcoin ETF. Grayscale Bitcoin Trust.
Now I will wait for a buy alert, an active alert, before I entertain the buys. Now we're at the weekly open, okay? So let's see. They're chopping up down here. They gotta pick a side though. They're respecting this 2150 hold number. If they stay over the weekly open, I'm looking for a 75 pip play, 50 pip play. But they're just chopping right now. They're chopping right around this weekly open. We got short-term momentum to the downside. So the weekly low could get pushed down, or they could also want to start the week up and then push down once they get the Fed an interest rate decision. So they're retesting everything. As opposed to deal with the 90.
This moment in time will be when we started to transform the way we live to inform the future we want.
Let's go to a cooler place.
This show is about solutions and the people behind it.
The worm that can actually solve plastic.
This would be a carbon neutral.
I gotta let it pick a clear side.
Jamie Lannister on the runway.
But at that point, it might put me in a little late. So this pullback is expected. But I need to see if it's gonna respect this yellow and it's gonna respect this green line. I got EU turning down. Let's see if they're gonna go. Dixie at 103.88. Dixie is looking a little stronger.
Our job is to provide create index products and then to be the listing exchange for those index products that allow investors to invest in all sorts of tradable instruments, including now Bitcoin.
Gold has to pick a side.
Context changes everything.
We played the buys. We got bid on those. We was up about $10. Played the sells, and they turning on the sells. If they close over green, then they're definitely just chopping it. But the buys might be the move. Now, GN is coming off that 2100. It's coming off that 2100. It's respecting those highs. Left head, right shoulder.
What do you want to know today? Ask a question or visit SearchGo to find answers now.
I don't want to keep chasing gold, but we're at such a key point. GN just sent the sell alert. See this arrow right here? So let's see if this sell alert is gonna actually run. Left head, right shoulder over here. Let's see if this right shoulder is gonna run. Now gold is looking it's looking perky. It's back over the weekly open. It's back over the green line. It's just respecting that 2150.
In San Francisco. Great to have you back, Ed. I'm Caroline Hyde in New York. Let's have a quick check on these markets, shall we? Because
gold is still 50-50. It has to stay over the yellow line. GN is looking heavy.
0.6%. So big tech under pressure as we basically take some profits. This is a crowded trade, according to Bank of America. Among the most crowded trade is the Magnificent Seven. And of course, after Nvidia's all-important tech event is upon us, the Woodstock of developers conferences, maybe there's just a little bit of chips on the table. The dollar still strengthening against particularly the Japanese yen as they end their policy of negative interest rates. We're up more than a percentage point, and of course we still anticipate where the Federal Reserve will go in terms of their own rate hikes or cuts later in the year. Bitcoin currently up by almost 7%, let's call it. Certainly seeing some concerns about the inflows into the ETFs at the moment. Now I want to shine a light on what's happening over at Tencent because we've got their numbers coming out Wednesday. Still off by 1.4%. Interesting US-China tension still bubbling over with TikTok, but Tencent actually could show us some margin improvement even if we don't see revenue improvement. Keep an eye on that key name traded here in the US. Of course, it's USDRs there at the moment. Cadence.
We want to see which side gold gonna pick.
I want to shine a light on some of the companies that perhaps as Nvidia doesn't rally, we do see some other companies being singled out as using Nvidia's Blackwell going forward. Ansys, Cadence Design, Synopsys among them. So AMD though on the downside, some 7%. Let's look at competition. It's getting so tough as Nvidia just shows its dominance.
Well, it's just a numbers game. That it's a different technology, right? So when we talk about the GB200, it is actually 2 GPUs combined with 1 CPU, 2 Blackwell GPUs.
Gold looked like it respected the yellow, respected the green.
Tell the story that they've just
We put one more tester back on. Let's see.
As we scale more data center infrastructure, the bottom point's really important, that it's just much more energy efficient.
Yeah.
When you put the Blackwell
It's setting up perfect for a pushback down to the downside. This was an expected pullback, but it's still in between. It's still 50-50 right now.
Well, the Hopper offering and indeed the H100s, what, 30-40,000.
We got Dixie at 103.88. Dixie looks like it wants to go back to 104. So EU is looking like it wants to drop.
When you're thinking of the power
We're watching gold.
it just shows the amount that power is going to be costing for these.
Gold has to pick a side, guys. It has to pick a side over this yellow line. We're going to go with it.
GPUs or tentacles in his hands. The reality is that Blackwell will ship as a rack or server design.
Oh.
Go into banks of racks in a data center. The scale is just enormous.
Now the 15-minute is looking strong for buys, but we will need to see this candle. We got to see what it wants to do. We pushed off 2150, came and made a high, came back. This could be a right shoulder. We need to see a strong bullish candle to take out these 15-minute highs. Once it closes over that yellow line, we know we got the buyers back here. They got to pick a side though. Maybe they're not going to run shit for the rest of the day. Maybe they're just going to hold it. We got Fed news coming up tomorrow or the day after. Let me see. I think it's tomorrow. We got Fed interest rate decision tomorrow. So maybe they're just going to keep gold in the range. They're just going to run it up, run it down, up, down, up, down.
Virtually everything we do.
We never would have been able to do this.
I'm just trying to scalp it a little bit. They close over yellow, the buys are back on.
All this data together.
Now that you have access that only data
Pick a fucking side.
have,
GN shorts still look active. GN shorts still look active. Anybody trading GN? I would have a short right there with my stop loss. I'll put my stop loss at the whole number, 2110. So that is a 10 pip stop loss on GN. You could easily get 25 pips out of that. That's a 1 to 2.
The servers, those are being bought and those are being deployed.
I think Euphoria is really driven by themes at this point.
25 to 50 pips out of GN. We're watching to see what gold wants to do. It needs to pick a side. Like right now, one of these next couple candles, they gotta pick a side to stay over yellow or under the yellow line. This is the weekly open. So based on what they do over or above this, under or above this line, dictates the weekly candle color. Okay? So it's very, very important. If you look at last week, this is the weekly open last week. They played around the line, pushed it up, came back to the line, and then they finally had to pick a side, but this is the news. They came and kissed it again and ran the move down. They came back to the weekly open, reset the candle, took out any sellers, and then ran the move down again. A perfect retest to the weekly open. They came back, pulled back to the whole number, ran it back down again. So we got to see what they want to do here. We got a double bottom, start of the week, Sunday, Monday. I'm sorry, this is Sunday, Monday, and this is Tuesday's low. This could be a double bottom and we could have an up week, or at least a start of the up week, and then we can get a push down for news, or they could just run it down right now. So it's still 50-50. We got a double bottom, but we also have a double top. So we got to pick a side. Moving averages are in line with short term, but we're in an overall uptrend. So it's conflicting signals. We got to wait for some volume to step in and really pick a side.
There's real curiosity of, can we add one more thing here? Can we actually ask and make demands of our teams to use yet another app? And so that's one of the contentious zones right now, because AI isn't always built in and ready to use.
Are the people available that are needed?
Ooh.
What I think is most amazing is that it's not necessarily actually about the people. What's most important is the technology.
Gold got to pick a side, man. Euro is looking heavy. Euro is under the H4 open. Dixie is at 103.89. Let's see if it's going to crack into those 900s.
what's quite compelling is actually
Euro's looking like it might want to go down now. Let's see.
and in the hands
Notice
of
Euro.
to answer really normal questions like what's the progress of our strategic initiatives.
So this is the start of an H4 open on Euro, this blue line. They pushed it up, worked buyers, and now they're back at the H4 open. So they got to pick a side if they want to go up or down. I'm going to put a short back on gold. Again, I'm going to build this position as it goes. It's respected this yellow line, respected the green line. It's looking like they want to break these lows at 2150. I'm going to add positions all the way down. This is just a typical pullback. Let's see if they're going to hold. Stop loss is at this yellow line. So a very tight stop. Let's see how many pips it is. 10 pips. Very, very tight stop. But I'm going to add positions as this goes. I need to see a new low. I need gold to break these lows right here. We get a fucking trade.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is
Jeez.
data connectivity and the access to the data. Because AI is only as good as the data you feed it.
UC is
Right
up.
now, many AI
So
solutions
Euro
are
should go down.
effectively islands that require entrepreneurial employees to figure out how to use them and how to apply and create value for their team and for their company. There's no top-level connectivity around strategy and what's important to the organization. And so that's where the gap is. You can't sing from the same song sheet if you don't know what the plan is and how to execute it. And AI needs that knowledge too. AI needs to know how do you want to get
Stop
work
loss
done.
at yellow.
And that's where quite a bit of the gap is. So what I would
Dixie
say
is looking a little heavy. Let's see what Dixie wants to do. It's turning off of 103.87.
and connectivity, and then it's about safe and secure rollout that's mindful and cognizant of your goals as an organization.
Asana, head of AI, Paige Costello, great to have you on the program. Thank
My
you.
stop loss at yellow.
We're watching. Chip makers are racing to feed the growing global AI boom, and Samsung is laying down the gauntlet with a new research lab dedicated to designing.
It's just a little tester position. I build a real position as it starts to run.
Intelligence, or AGI. It's a long-standing aspiration in AI development. The company's trying to catch up with SK Hynix after the smaller competitor got a head start in a new type of advanced memory semiconductor tailored for the use with.
We need to see a new low. If we can't get a new low, then they're just working and they'll get back up. They'll push it up again. But we need to see a new low to see if the sellers are actually here.
Fast-growing cybersecurity startup Wiz to discuss everything, M&A to the cloud. Let's wrap up.
We need to see gold get under this H4 open, and then get under this hold number 2150. It's still beginning of the week, so they're gonna work the opposite side, and then they're gonna run a candle. New York pushed up, respected the MAs, came down, made a lower high. But we need to see a new low to break under the daily lows. They're just bullshit.
The world's second largest economy with a growing influence in global affairs. But geopolitical uncertainties, deflationary pressures, and questions about foreign investment linger. Bloomberg, the China Show, brings you the unmatched expertise you
Well,
need
boy.
to keep track of breaking news, in-depth market
Morning.
analysis.
What's up, kid?
The linear business is not going anywhere.
Mama Billions pop in and said, what's up to him? Mama
Hi
Billions showed up.
everybody. Good morning.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's
It's
on
like,
purpose.
mm.
No.
You know, they're in sports right now.
Hi guys.
There she go. Mama Billions with the first coffee. Let's see what gold wanna do.
Okay.
So, I'm not sure. They did bid
So we got to see what gold want to do. Stop losses right here at the yellow line.
I think that was a
They're chopping around right now. Let's see what's going to run. GN turned all the way around. Respected the red line, and it's back over 2100. We want to see these gold shorts run. If it doesn't run, then they're just going to be holding everything because the Fed interest rate is tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a Fed interest rate. They might not run any moves, guys, until we know what the Fed wants to do. Or whatever they run might be a fake move, just to work the opposite side. We got heavy news tomorrow, so we might have to just trade light. We just trying to make a little something. I'm just trying to scalp the new high or scalp the new low. Got that crack coffee, I'm good.
I don't really want more.
Nah, took a little bit.
Time for VC Spotlight. We've got to shine a light on the fast-growing cybersecurity startup Wiz. It's already raised more than $900 million from investors and is now said to be making, well, some more acquisitions in the space potentially. We of course know that it's been buying Gem Security for $350 million. Joining us now to discuss the state of cybersecurity, the company's rapid growth, with CEO Asaf Rappaport. And
All right, gold is chopping around.
What feels like a whirlwind to everyone else.
Flipping the candle again.
And someone who is a serial entrepreneur, who has seen companies bought, got inside Microsoft, come outside of Microsoft, building a Microsoft competitor. How do you show what has made Wiz so successful since you launched in COVID?
So basically, again, we have a journey ahead of us to be truly successful, looking towards.
They chopping. I gotta let them pick a side first.
So it's just the beginning for us. Having said that, you talked about the tailwind. I think that the cyber market is definitely exploding. When we're looking at the global markets, we're seeing that this is like
they're forming a higher low now.
50% of the population of the world is going to election.
They won't break this low, and they're at the weekly open. They gotta literally pick a side.
AI introduces a new attack surface, but both like.
I'm trying to see if that double bottom gonna hold, but they acting like it's not gonna hold.
Pushes for more and more, need for cybersecurity tools. Definitely, we look at 2023. Unfortunately, 2023, we had
If I get a clear close over this yellow line, then I'll take a buy.
Reported data breaches in the world. This is the peak that we had, and 2024 unfortunately doesn't look better. So definitely there is a huge demand, huge market demand, and a huge market TAM. And you build a simple solution.
They're gonna chop because we got Fed interest rate tomorrow.
And that's how
So if we don't get no clear direction or see no volume step in, guys, we gotta leave it alone.
Run rate, that of course helps you guide towards an IPO and a valuation, but you're also looking at M&A to beef up ahead of initial public offering. What sort of companies do you need to add at this moment rather than
All we need is some follow through. We ain't getting no follow through.
Focus and definitely kind of innovation we're doing organically. Having said that, and it's not only related to Wiz, if you're looking at the last 6 months, $2 billion of acquisitions in the cybersecurity space, lots of them, by the way, in Israel, by 4 leaders, Palo, Alto Networks, CrowdStrike, Zscaler, and
All we need is some follow through.
Organic opportunities are there. When we're looking at the market, definitely threat detection, CDR, super important for us to grow. When we're looking at AI, definitely another focus area for us. But also if you shift left, like looking more in the developers and security, this is a focus for us. So definitely we believe that 20.
I got a tester position. Let's see.
Saf, good morning from San Francisco.
I always start out with a tester and then I build positions as the trade starts to run. They're still acting like they want to respect this whole number. We got a left head, right shoulder. We're back over green and we're back over the yellow line again. We need to see some volume to step in, or these guys just chopping around.
Ask a CEO of a startup, are you raising money? It's probably always do it every day. no, so not every day, and definitely our focus is on building technology and attracting.
GN turned around. It's now up. They're back at 2100. Look like they want to break the weekly highs. You see it's turning around. Euro is turning around at the yellow line too, so it has to pick a side. Everything is chopping. Everything might chop until the Fed interest rate. They might pick a side.
We enjoy it, but again, when we have something to publish, we'll definitely share it here.
All right, that's all I'm gonna get on right now. My margin is at 155%.
What is it from a technology perspective?
I don't like to go under 200% margin, but I need to make back a little bit, so I'm trying to just hold these gold buys and let's see if it runs. We're back over the weekly open. My stop loss is at yellow. It's about 10 pips. If they come back, I'm definitely done with them for the day. They just gonna chop all up and down this shit. Next thing I need to see is gold close over the yellow line to confirm the buys. I need to close over yellow to confirm the buys. We took the buys, sells, and now we're back in the buys. But nothing is running. All we need is some follow through. Let's get a new low or a new high. They're acting like they don't want to break the 2150 level, so let's see if they push up. If we get over yellow, it's a confirmed buy trade, 15 minutes. Once we close over this red line, it's a confirmed buy trade on the 5 minute. So now we need to see some momentum step in, some volume, guys. My margin's at 166%. I don't want to add any positions. So I'm going to just let the 5 cents run. If I can get over yellow, then I can actually have a real trade on my hands. That's why you got to stay flexible. You're going to take a couple losses, right? But if you catch the winner and you hold it, it's going to make back everything plus. So always just stay flexible. You get a buy alert, you take the buy. You get a sell, take the sell. But you cut the losses. You cut them. Cut them at this green line. And once you get into the buy trade, you just hold it. Now we're over the weekly open. We're over the red line. We need to get over the yellow line to have a confirmed signal. Stop losses at the yellow line. We close everything on the yellow. We just need to let the trade run now.
What's the hardest part of your job right now?
Oh, the hardest is always, since the beginning, is attracting the best talent. Like the company, and you can put technology, IP, even customer. It's all about eventually. It's always to the talent. You know, we're talking. We
Give me a fucking push.
We're expanding. We're about to recruit 400 people in the U.S. in 2024. To find amazing 400 people, that's truly a tough job.
And you're based here now in New York, so they're going to be New York people for 400 or everywhere?
So we're a global company, definitely focused on the U.S. market. New York is kind of our headquarters, so definitely lots of focus.
We need gold to close over this yellow line and turn into an actual setup, 15-minute setup. We close over this yellow line, we'll confirm 15-minute setup. The fact that we closed over the red line is a 5-minute setup. We need to get some push to the upside. Let's get some value. That's why you gotta stay flexible. Cut the losses quickly and let the winners run. I'll sit in this bitch all day. Once you got the direction, you just sit in that bitch. I'm good.
How are you feeling right now about the state of the industry and what it's going to look like in the next couple of years?
Yeah, look at our TikTok. I don't post a bunch, you know.
Like 10?
Yes. Look at the one that did good. The food one.
Yeah.
You did see real signs of life this summer. So generally speaking, box office is down globally around 20%.
So I want to change that photo, make us a link tree.
But this summer, it was 5% down.
back on.
Such an exciting time in healthcare because
Alright, we gotta see what gold wants to do at this yellow line. If it doesn't close above this yellow line, the buys are not active. If it closes above, the buys are good. We just got the signal for a buy. Let's see if it's gonna actually run this time.
To improve access to care. Sometimes I'm very jealous of doctors that are just starting out in the field because they have this new tool in their toolbox that they're going to get to use across their career in the way that when penicillin was discovered, it was a new tool in the toolbox. So we're already seeing that AI is helpful.
We got Fed interest rate tomorrow, so we gotta see if they're gonna actually run the move.
We're doing some work with Apollo hospitals in India to extend
We got a double bottom, clean double bottom. So let's see if it's gonna play out. Clean double bottom, 15-minute chart, right at the whole number 2150. Let's see if it's gonna run. TP 2160, TP2, TP1 is 2175. I need this shit to run.
Can you articulate some of the ways in which
We need to get over the yellow line to confirm the buy signal.
its own innovations, its own products that it's already
GN turned around. It's confirmed up. Look like they're gonna break the highs of the day, highs of the week. It's stuck up there. It's just too high for me.
But also how we're directly helping consumers. I'll give you an example of how
Something has to run.
directly into some of our products to work with consumers.
Let's see if we're gonna break New York highs.
People already get advice about steps or
That's the first target. Break New York highs. New York highs are right around 2175. 2157.50. GN is pushing. Dixie's at 103.84. So it's in chopping too. It's chopping.
Personal coaching that gives you those nudges that are going to matter most to you because it's reflective of what your experience has. I'm personally very excited about this also. I'm a person who's a runner and it'll be so exciting to have that personal AI.
I'm sitting at 169% margin. I maybe can throw some pennies on as we push to the upside if we get a push today.
Build and mature that personal LLM.
Dr. Karen DeSalvo, Chief Health Officer.
Euro is turning around. Dixie might be ready to drop until 103.83.
Online shopping rewards app backed by Temasek is cutting about a quarter of its workforce as it retreats from the buy now pay later space.
Gold might not want to run, guys, until this Fed interest rate. It's back at the yellow and it's respecting it again. My stop loss is at the yellow line. I'll close it. If it closes under red, I'll close this. I'll close it and be done. They're just chopping up and down. That's 3 trades taken, 2 running in profit. They just chopping.
In his proxy battle with activist investors, Lucas became a significant shareholder years ago when he sold his production company to Disney. And in a statement this morning, he says he has, quote,
I like gold buys, but they gotta push. Let's get some momentum. What y'all gonna do?
I'm very pleased to say that we're in full force with you back as well. That does it for this edition of Bloomberg Technology.
Alright, don't forget to check out the poll. Thank you so much to those that are listening to the podcast all around the world. Apple, Spotify, iHeart, and all the Bloomberg platforms. This is Bloomberg.
Here they go with the chop shit.
But competitors are coming for your market share. At PwC, we pair the right tech with the right solutions to help.
Let's see what they want to do. They respect the yellow again. Let's see if this is a pullback to push over or are they coming back down. They just chopping it all day. They're probably holding it to the Fed. This is the second hour of the H4 candle. Second and third hour.
This is the second hour of the new H4 candle, so 2 more hours of this H4 candle. Let's see what it wants to do. Right now it's above the last H4 candle, which is showing a bullish momentum shift. If we stay over the H4 open and stay over the weekly open, then it could be a push to the upside.
This is the deal. Each week, you'll hear us in conversation with business icons.
They gotta pick a side right now.
Across sports, media, and entertainment.
They respected 2150 twice with a double bottom. Let's see if they're gonna actually run the move now. Came and did a little pullback. We're also oversold. So let's see if we can get a push to the upside.
Talk with big-time athletes and executives about the wins, the losses, and lessons learned along the way. This show is called The Deal. The Deal? The Deal. The Deal. Who got this up? Where y'all in trouble?
Morning, this is Bloomberg Daybreak Europe. I'm Tom McKenzie in London. These are the stories that set your agenda. Taking you from the US market close to the overnight session in Asia. We'll walk you through what you need to know to kickstart the European trading day. Live from our European headquarters.
Let's see what gold wants to do.
Market moving stories, unmatched expert analysis.
Respected the yellow line twice. It's respecting both sides. They're literally inside a range. They're making a triangle. They're inside this range right here. We got to break the highs or break the lows. They respected the lows of 2150. Then let's see them break the highs, but they don't want to break the highs. My stop loss is at this yellow line. I'm also concerned that we close under red. I'll deal with it up to the green line. I need to stay over the yellow line though.
Welcome to Bloomberg Crypto. We'll look at the people, transactions, and technology shaping the world.
We respected this yellow line again, so I'm definitely concerned. But I gotta deal with a little bit of work only up until this yellow line.
Price swings and the latest in venture capital in the crypto industry.
Plus, we look at the Bitcoin halving and what it might mean for potential crypto consolidation. We're going to talk to Delta Blockchain, Kavita Gupta.
As we head closer to the big U.S. election, we're going to discuss the millions being spent by crypto lobbyists to tip elections in favor of pro-crypto candidates.
First, though, let's get a check on a snapshot of what's going on in the crypto market today. Sea of red. Bitcoin right now down about 5%. Extended it's actually down about 13% from last week's record. We're seeing across crypto assets right now. These are also lower.
They're chopping. We back at yellow. Let's see what they want to do. I gotta cut this 3. This 3 gonna hurt me. I gotta cut that 3. I'll let the 2 run. Let's see what the 2 do. And I'll put another 2 back.
The company's executive chairman and co-founder, Michael Saylor, sold about $5 million in shares over the last week. The company also made its second multi-million-dollar purchase of Bitcoin in just over a week. Just over 9,000 Bitcoin for $623 million. That's according to an SEC filing that we got earlier today. Now, because of that, it now owns more than 1% of all the Bitcoin that will ever be issued, Sonali.
Now, Tim, I also want to bring us over to another firm very much impacted by the volatility in crypto prices. That is Grayscale, because the Bitcoin Trust, which we know has faced outflows to the tune of about $12 billion since the conversion into a spot Bitcoin ETF in early January, you can just see how much those.
We need to see if we can get a push. Let's see if gold is gonna respect the weekly open or break it again. If it breaks it again, I ain't touching it no more. Because they literally gonna chop into the Fed tomorrow. We need to see a push out of here. I'll put my position back on if I can get a push out of here.
That decline in Bitcoin prices also matters to other Bitcoin issuers out there. ETF issuers, rather.
Let's see what gold wants to do. New 15-minute candle. The 15-minute candle needs to pick a side. If it closes hard bullish, then we know the buyers are still here. If it closes under the weekly open, then the sellers are stepping in. I'm not touching it no more. I want to put my position back on, but I need to see some respect. I need to see this low respect the weekly open and push up to the upside. So we're looking for an engulfing right now. I need an engulfing pattern.
Last time we were here, our target was 100,000. We're currently revising that to 200 by the end of the year, if not higher indeed.
And there's another developing story on our radar. BitMEX said it's investigating unusual trading activity, including possible misconduct that led to a flash crash on Bitcoin on its crypto exchange just yesterday. The price of Bitcoin against Tether's USDT stablecoin fell to as low as $8,900, while trading above $66,000 on rival platforms. Bloomberg's Mike Regan is here to explain. Mike, how do you see issues forming with how Bitcoin is traded across different exchanges, and how does that differ from what you might see, for example, in traditional equities?
Well, in traditional equities, especially in the U.S., you have this consolidated tape where no matter what exchange or dark pool the stock is traded on, it all eventually feeds back to one single data source. Whereas in crypto,
They are chopping the fuck out of the day, guys. Let's see what gold wants to do. Can I get 50 pips? This is ridiculous.
This is an exchange we don't talk a lot about.
It won't break 2150, but it won't also break the highs. It won't break 2155. It's crazy.
Famous for introducing the perpetual futures.
It's just bouncing this 50 cent move, 50 cent move.
Again, they're not available for the most part in the U.S., but very popular overseas and very
$50 move, rather.
on the price. So that's what they're known for, and they do offer spot trading. And in this case, what happened is they just had a very
I need a 50 pip push to the upside or the downside. They just won't pick a fucking side. They might hold it into the new H4 candle. They might just chop this whole one, or they might just hold it in tomorrow to the Fed interest rate. But we just after the next push on gold. The next push will push us right back. We'll double the account and double it again. We'll be right back at 120. We just need a couple good setups. They just chopping. We've been flexible as fuck all morning. Still got no payout. That's all we could do, guys. No one knows where the market's going, but you gotta show up and be flexible. Take a couple losses and hold your winners. Cut the losses as soon as you can and hold the winners. The flexible wins.
When it comes to like traditional exchanges like the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ.
Risk management is everything, so you gotta control how deep those losses go. You gotta cut those motherfuckers and then hold the winners. So I need to see if this low is gonna hold over this yellow line, which is the weekly open. If it holds over this yellow line, then we should push up to the next yellow line, and that's turned into an actual setup on the 15-minute. I'll add more positions as we start to flow, but we're not catching no flow. All these are like tester positions, so we're just losing on them testers.
It's a great question that I think it comes up every now and then, especially when an event like
Dixie is at 103.86.
Yeah, right. And to be sure, it's not clear exactly how long it stayed or how many orders were able to be filled at that price. BitMEX said they think there was only one trader who was able to get a price under 12,000, but not exactly clear. You'd have to go through sort of line by line on the order book to see what happened.
Lucky trader. First, Mike Regan, thank you so much. We're going to bring in Pomp Investments founder now, Anthony Pompliano, where we're going to talk about something much simpler than the intricacies of market structure here, because you do have Bitcoin prices back below $65,000. What's happening under the surface?
Yeah, for context, this is a pullback for ants compared to what Bitcoin has always been through, right? In previous bull markets, Bitcoin has experienced 30% drawdowns 5 or more times. So on the way up, 2017...
We need to push out of here, push up or down. As long as gold is over this yellow line, I'll stay in the buys. If it goes back under, I'm not even going to entertain the sells. We got to see what the Fed wants to do.
Extend out and you look over the last 10 years. In the last 5 years, Bitcoin's up 1,500%. The S&P is up not even double. If you go back 10 years,
There's some tester positions. Let's see what they want to do.
Bitcoin is 60%. The S&P is 11%. And so if you compare those things, if you want volatility on the upside, you're going to need some volatility on the
I
downside.
got the engulfing. Now I need to see it run. Next step is get over the yellow line. We respected the yellow weekly open. Let's see, can we get a new push now?
And expect potentially more volatility, further drawdowns ahead.
I mean, there is some irony in the fact that Wall Street came in.
Get a fucking push.
Immediately the price crashed, right? Kind of like welcome to Bitcoin. And then we break all-time highs. And 3 of the last 4 times that we had broken all-time highs, Bitcoin's price had doubled in 18 days or less. And then all of a sudden we get a 15% drawdown. And so I think the
push.
Bitcoin over the last, call it 3-4 years is no one knows what the future is going to be. and some of those
Give me a
historical
push, man.
people held kind of as these like holy rules, right? We had never seen Bitcoin go below a previous all-time high. We had never seen Bitcoin hit an all-time high before the halving. Both of those rules got broken, and so I think we're in uncharted territory here, and people have to understand this is like an 80 vol asset that, yes, it's been the best performing asset, but it is very, very volatile all the way up.
You know, you've been in the space for quite a while.
The EU buy signal. It's going back and forth.
For a couple things, being early to the space, but also making quite a few private investments when it comes to crypto, when it comes to blockchain technology. Given that we have emerged from the crypto market, how would you characterize venture capital interest right now around crypto versus where we were about a year ago before this bull market?
So venture capital interest for sure has increased.
I wonder what Nas is doing.
But what I think is interesting about crypto is there's private markets and public markets, but the public markets are not like in traditional technology, right? In traditional technology, we have the best companies staying private for longer, and so the returns available to you in the public market are not.
Nas is chopping. I think a lot of shit is gonna chop until they get the Fed interest rate tomorrow. But Nas is coming off those 18,000 highs. It's forming the right shoulder. It needs to break 1882. 1782 to be confirmed shorts.
They still are early stage investments, right? And so you have liquidity, which obviously changes kind of the way that you think about risk and reward. But two is there's still a lot of asymmetry. If you go back, you know, there's maybe the last cycle, Solana was kind of the famous example. Anybody in the world who had an internet connection could have gone.
I could probably squeeze on 6 or 7 cents on gold, but I need to see a fucking push.
Historically been returns that have been reserved only for private market investors. And so again, it doesn't mean that they're all going to work. They're all early stage, you know, type things.
When we get the fuck over to open.
That there's more of a blending.
Come
and so
on.
when you see interest come back in the public market, it's also coming back in the private market.
Hey, one of the promises of crypto has been this idea of democratization. This idea that instead of it being controlled by a small number of very wealthy people, the masses, for lack of a better term, have access to it. I was pretty struck earlier today when I saw that Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy now holds 1% of all Bitcoin that's ever going to be created. Does that concern you?
Not really. I mean, you know, Cameron Tyler Winklevoss, they've owned 1% for a decade or so, give or take. And so there's a number of different organizations or people who have, you know, 1%, 0.5%. What I think is really interesting is
We need to see gold get over this yellow line, guys.
You know, that 1,500
It keeps retesting it, but it won't break it. Let alone it won't break the lows at 2150. So it has to pick a side. We're just trying to play the next push.
So Bitcoin is essentially minting millionaires.
We got to read the higher lows and we got to read the lower highs.
What's like the ideal distribution, right? Does everyone in the world get one Bitcoin? Well, there's not enough for that, right? And how do you kind of view, okay, if we could perfectly plan distribution? Well, the beauty is there's a free market, right? It is kind of the epitome of what economics and a lot of economic theory is.
We're back at yellow. Let's see what it's going to do.
So what we're seeing is people are buying Bitcoin at the price they kind of deserve, right? If they've done the work and they understand it, they sort of buy it. Their access to capital, right? It's not like Michael Saylor has bought all the Bitcoin with his own money.
I'm going to use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Michael Saylor doesn't control all that Bitcoin. What happens is you've got debt investors, you've got equity investors.
possible. So they always zag where the money was and the opportunity was.
They're in the trunk though.
I think the opportunity for
Grab two.
the
So gold is now running. We made a new high. Let's see. We're over yellow, so it's a 15-minute signal. I want to add one more position. So we're in the total of 5 cents. This is why you gotta be flexible. The buys didn't show themselves until they started respecting these higher lows. So now we're over yellow. Let's see if it's gonna actually run. Stop losses at this yellow line down here. Dixie is at 103.82. Let's see if this gold signal is gonna run. TP1 is 21.5750. TP2 is 21.60. Let's see what they're gonna do.
There will be some miners whose profitability may be challenged or who may be looking for an exit as their revenues will drop because of the price, the amount of Bitcoin being awarded will drop. And so I think what we'll find is there'll be further consolidation.
Some comments there from crypto mining giant Marathon Digital CEO Fred Thiel last week, speaking about the effect. For more, let's bring in Kavita Gupta, founder and managing partner of Delta Blockchain.
Using the charger,
Good to have you on the program. I want to get to the halving in just a second, but first I want to talk about the price moves that we've seen. As we mentioned,
but it's
Bitcoin
too
down
hard to
around
stay
12,
connected.
13% from last week's highs. How are you watching the price
So
moves?
gold respected this higher low. Let's see if it's gonna actually start to run.
I mean, if you look at even like the last week when I was on Bloomberg, I was saying the same thing, that there is going to be a sell pressure. What is going to be interesting and different about this time, which I think
Nasdaq is popping.
sort of insinuating at it, is
Nasdaq buys are hot.
this time when the ETF market also have a very big buy pressure. So
Stop loss is 17,923.
finding a very new chart for Bitcoin prices. Said that, do I expect Bitcoin prices after the Bitcoin halving over the summer to go around late 50s or around mid 50s? Absolutely.
Dixie at 103.82. We need to see if gold is gonna actually start to run.
About the way up until this point when it came to Bitcoin ETFs and how much more buying pressure. But the selling pressure, could that add more
It's showing respect to the yellow line.
Bitcoin asset class than ETFs?
We need a new high.
So selling pressure on the Bitcoin asset class actually even in 60s is not bad for the people who really believed in it during the Bitcoin winter at 20 in late 20s and early 33, 32K. And for them, this is a good exit price. But said that, based on the new technologies which are coming on Bitcoin and a lot of movement which is happening on the buy side, I think you will still see that there is going to be a new threshold on which in 50s it's going to find its balance for quite some time before we go and touch another new 88 for Bitcoin.
Trying to see if gold is gonna run. We got Dixie looking heavy at 103.81. Euro is starting to pop to the upside. UC might want to reverse right now. And we have GN is in the air running currently 20 pips on the last signal call.
Again, with respect to the history, we've always seen around halving the prices going up, then the sell pressure comes down, going down.
We need gold to start to run. It's holding at the yellow line. We need to see a new explosive candle to the upside.
But at this point in time, I do expect that, as I mentioned before, the forces with respect to sell and buy very different. I do expect people who have been holding it for a long time, especially out of Asia, a lot of individuals, small miners, to have the sell at high prices. But I still see with the ETF demands, people keep on buying it, and so the buy pressure is going to make sure that it doesn't go down to 20s again.
I think it's worth talking about what people are actually buying here for a moment, because when people think about Bitcoin, they think about it almost as a store of value at this point. But to the point that you started started to get at that there are things that are happening outside of this ecosystem that are use cases. To you, which is the most promising?
I mean, if you look at Ether, right, and we always only talk about Bitcoin or like you just mentioned about meme coin, right, before me. I mean, the main technology which started with Ethereum and then moved to a lot of
Let's see
different
what gold
chains,
wants to
whether
do.
it's layer twos like Polygon or we have non-EVM like Solana. It's all about technology which has put them into multi-billion-dollar FDVs in the market. Now we are seeing in last year and a half, a lot of similar technologies getting built on Bitcoin, whether it's staking, whether it's actually creating NFTs and memes on Bitcoin, whether it's actually creating a decentralized finance with having a cross bridge to Ethereum, which is Ethereum compatibility, and to be able to have a multi-billion or a trillion-dollar liquidity out of Ethereum. So we're going to start seeing that a lot of Bitcoin holders, which have always seen Bitcoin as just a pure storage value, actually start having a lot of use cases of it and having 15 to 25% yield, which people on Ethereum staking and restaking has been getting those benefits for last 4-5 years.
Kavita Gupta, founder and general partner of Delta Blockchain Fund. We thank you so much for your time and soon as we watch this price action play out through the course of the year. Now, coming up, how crypto lobbyists are using their war chest to kind of sway the elections this year. But will it work? We'll answer that next. This is Bloomberg.
NASDAQ longs, guys. If you trade in NASDAQ buys are hot. You'll probably get back up to the 18,000 level. Dixie at 103.81. We need gold to pop. The buys are now valid, but we need gold to pop. We need some momentum. We got UC sell signal activated. USD CHF sell signal is activated. Dixie's at 103.81. So let's see if Dixie's gonna push to the downside. That's how the signals come in, guys. USD CHF, sell crossover to the downside. Stop loss will be right here. If you're taking the USD CHF, my stop loss would be 88834. It's coming off these 8800s. I need gold to run for 100 pips right now. Gold buys are activated. Stop loss is at 2153.23. The buys are currently activated. We need to see a new high. So since we're in buys, we need to see new highs to confirm the buys are still good. If we were in sells, we need to see new lows. Okay? That's how you confirm which side of the trend is actually running. And you have to monitor the higher lows and the lower highs to see who's in the market, the buyers or the sellers. So while we were doing that, while we were managing the higher lows and lower highs, notice gold started making higher lows right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the fourth higher low. The next thing we needed to see to confirm the buys was gold break highs. So now it's breaking these 15-minute highs. Now we want to see it get over this red line and start to run and potentially make it back to the daily open. But the fact that we're over this yellow line is ideal, because now there's nothing in our way. It could just run all day.
In 10 minutes from now, and before that, Carson Blanco, Muddy Waters. This is Bloomberg.
Nate, what they do, boy? I just seen your message, man. I gotta check on my chat. What's up, bro? Oh, you sticking with London session?
Oh, that's so cool.
Trade what you gotta trade. You can still catch some good moves during London session.
Meat noodles.
Just be careful that London like to set up for New York.
Short hair.
So anything you trading in London, don't hold it too long. Or always take partials.
Ninja. Make the Bissell Crossway Hydro Steam. It's part vacuum, part mop, part all-in-one steam cleaner. And
GN is in the air. It's currently 20 pips running. Hey, y'all hit that like button for your boy, man. I really appreciate it. It helps me grow the channel.
My kids are literally starving.
But authorities now say that her tough love was actually child
We gotta get this information out to all the newcomer traders.
We take you inside the courtroom in this live crime original podcast, The Rise and Fall of Ruby Frankie, exclusively on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app.
Let's see where gold wants to go.
And I believe this moment in time will be when we started to transform the way we live to inform the future we want.
We got Dixie at 103.81.
This show is about solutions and the people.
UC is coming down, Euro's in the air, and gold is up right now. Let's see if this buy signal is gonna keep running. We need to see new highs. The only thing I'm looking for is new highs. We got an hour and 30 minutes until it's the new H4 candle. Let's see if this H4 candle is gonna run some more. Gold came back down, so we got to see what it wants to do. Stop losses at the yellow line. They just chopping it. They're probably not going to do much until the Fed interest rate tomorrow.
China is in general uninvestable. And the reason that I felt it was uninvestable back then had to do with...
Let's see if we can get a push back out of here.
...in the fact that, at least as far as
It keeps respecting the lows, and then it goes and respects the highs. It's not picking a side.
...people accountable. So that old saying, you show me the incentives, I'll show you the outcomes. On top of that now, we can layer a
Let's see if they can continue to the upside.
to business and to Western government.
You see it's turned around, and so has Dixie. Dixie is hugging 103.81.
And it's also, I mean, this is the type of situation where we can literally wake up one day and see that China is preparing to invade Taiwan, and that could very well put the U.S. and China on a course toward a kinetic war with each other. So that's another reason why China is uninvestable. But to go back to the way we see the world, in 2020, April of 2020, as COVID's shut most of the U.S. down and shut a lot of the world down, it dawned on us that coming out of COVID, it was going to be the biggest geopolitical realignment since World War II. And that it would all be about the world's relationships with China. And so the question was, what's the trade? And what we settled on was that the country that is going to be...
We gotta see what gold wants to do.
...by this realignment, at least
If they don't run the buys right now, I'm getting flat done for the day. We'll come back tomorrow after Fed interest rate. They just chopped me up today.
China that's now looking for other homes because of the need to diversify supply chains, because of the political...
They just chopped me up all day today.
And the reality is, I think in this new geopolitical framework,
No follow through.
the countries that are best positioned